Hey girls, guys, and all people like it, is Mox here, and hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about more FNAF movie news. And of course, we're back on Twitter, or X now, I guess. Oh yeah, but we're on NTOM's page, question mark. We've been on their page before, and they've provided some pretty accurate leaks and news related to the FNAF movie before it came out, so I'm willing to believe this is true, and some of it I think actually was even confirmed, and I'll talk about that when we get into it. So this is supposed to be stuff that was actually cut from the movie, which is kind of a shame, because a lot of it seems really good, and I feel like it would have helped the movie so much. If you want to see my full review talking about the FNAF movie, I'll link it down in the description below, as well as a card somewhere. Does YouTube still do cards? I don't know. To summarize, I said generally that I enjoyed the movie, although I didn't think it was perfect, but I enjoyed it for what it was. But I do think that some of this stuff could have made it so much better, and let's just jump into it. Okay, this is going to be big extra work for editing me, but I'm going to try and animate some of this stuff so it's a little more interesting to see and not just me reading things out. So sorry, editing me. So seeing the final film was quite interesting, honestly, as I had known what was coming. I saw the test screenings back during the summer and thought the movie was pretty good, albeit definitely incomplete. The movie was easily over 2 hours. How long was it currently? What is going on? I can type. Hour and 50 minutes. Okay, so quite a decent amount of cut content, it seems like. A lot of the big differences, excluding deleted scenes, were just how scenes played out and extra dialogue they ended up taking out. I would have been down for a slightly longer movie. I don't know why they decided to cut a lot of this stuff. Okay, so number one, after the guard in the opening scene was attacked, instead of seeing him in the torture device, we saw a sequence of him being dragged down the hallway to his death while zoning in and out. Also, they used Foxy's original hum for his scenes, unsure why they replaced it. I actually thought it was super cool to hear Foxy's humming and stuff. I didn't recognize that it was different, but I feel like that makes sense for it to be, from the game to the movie. I'll try to play the two right now. I'm obviously not listening to them, but you guys will hear the difference. But yeah, I think this could have been super cool. I did talk about how I'm not the biggest fan of the scene, although I really wanted to like it. But I think maybe this could have added to the spooky factor of it, the eeriness maybe. But overall, I just feel like the scene wasn't entirely necessary, or could have been done differently to spice it up a little bit and make it more fitting, I guess. Also, just to be clear, I thought the scene was great. I thought it was really good. Just in the context of the rest of the movie, I think something needed to be different. But yeah, I was talking about how things were slightly confirmed. I think this was confirmed. I remember seeing an interview or some kind of Q&A thing with the guy who actually played the security guard in the beginning, and I'm pretty sure he said yes, when I filmed I was dragged down a hallway by Foxy. That makes me want to believe that the rest of this is pretty true. Alright, so number two, Max brought her dog to Mike's house while babysitting. Not a huge thing, but I think I would have liked it just because dogs. The training tape was originally 30 seconds longer, showing the animatronics performing to Talking in Your Sleep. That's the song that I think they used a bunch of times when they were performing. I would have liked to see different songs that they performed. It's a good song, but that would have just been too much of the same song, I think. So I'm okay that it was cut, unless they had some super cool stuff in the rest of the training tape. All right, so number four, Max and Mike had a longer interaction after Mike got home from work after the first night. Mainly Max talking about her love for Abby and hopes for a good life. I think that would be good in conjunction with a couple of other scenes that they either cut or just didn't make. But I think it's confirmed, that Max is actually a good person and a good character. She just, was going through it, I guess. I remember the actress recently said that her character, Max, was jealous of Mike and Abby and their relationship, and she kind of wished that her and her brother were like that. So I think that's I think all that stuff together is very fitting. But yeah, I can see why they cut that. It's not the biggest thing in the world. Number five, during night 2, Mike ended up looking through the office before going to sleep. He found a stack of cassette tapes. He went through all of them, each of them being a segment of a news report about the missing children at Freddy's. This one I'm actually upset about. That would have been so good. We hear about the missing children a couple times throughout the movie, and I think it just would have added to the mystery of oh, there's missing kids going on. For a fan it's very obvious, but I think just visuals and things like this really add to it. It's stuff like this that I think the lore was kind of based around in the games. It's things that we hear and that we see, these weird little news clippings and news reports and stuff like that really add to the story, and I think this would have been an amazing addition, so I'm sad it was cut. But moving on, number 6, the dog was in the car with Max outside of Freddy's. Understandably cut, would have liked it because there's dog. Okay, number 7, Carl getting his face eaten was a way longer sequence. The whole vandalizing sequence was. That makes sense. I feel like there's a lot you could easily film with a scene like that, and it makes sense to cut some of it. I would have liked to see more of Carl getting his face eaten though, just because it would have added to the like, I don't know, the gore of the movie, I guess. Not that it needed to be gory, but I just think it would have helped. It would have been cool to see. All right, number 8. Before Bonnie exited the closet, Bonnie grabbed his neck and pinned him against the wall, kind of sliding him upwards with his hand. I don't think that's super necessary. Like, I guess it would have made the scene a little bit longer, but I think it's kind of fun that Hank turns and Bonnie's there, and then I don't know. I don't think that's super necessary, but interesting. Moving on to number 9. Max originally asked if the kid was okay while following him to Freddy. So that's when she gets in and she's following the kid to the parts and service area. While following the kid, she had to gather herself, but kept on pushing. She looked through the animatronics beside Freddy before grabbing the chair. When the hand reached out toward her, we saw her screaming and fall backwards before getting pulled into the mouth. It kind of just sounds like a bit of a longer version of the same scene, so I feel like it makes sense that it was kind of shortened a little bit, I guess, for the sake of seemingly to shorten the movie and just make things a little more concise, I'm assuming. I would have been okay with it though. I've been seeing a lot of people trying to justify her following the kid and being like, she is a babysitter that actually cares about kids. But that previous scene I was talking about would have aided for a scene like this, like, or the whole scene in general. She cares about kids. Like, having her explain, like the previous number mentioned, she like cares and loves Abby, would have helped a lot for the scene we ended up getting. All right, number 10. When Mike tried to confront Vanessa before Abby touched the guitar, Vanessa began to rant about how he cannot and never will find the guy who killed Garrett. I think that would have been good as well, because it would have given Vanessa extra like guilt almost, because she's like, she knows what happened to him. And I think it would have added what, like a couple minutes of runtime. I think it would have been fine. I think it would have been a great addition. Number 11, during the scene where Vanessa is revealed to be William's daughter, we see flashes of children screaming in a dim area. Young Vanessa is seen watching the whole thing happen at times, and though you never see him directly, excluding the outline of his hand or something, William is the one committing the murders. This is exactly what I would have wanted. I talked about it in the review, and I've said it in many previous videos. Flashbacks. We need flashbacks for this movie. It would have made it so much better, and it would have just added so much to the story and the lore and everything, and it would have helped a lot. I think putting the flashbacks at that particular time could have been a little bit weird, but if they changed some of the dialogue and stuff, it would have worked perfectly, I think. And a scene of William actually just like committing his crimes would have been super cool and very spooky to see, and it would have, I think, just would have added a lot. Number 12, Golden Freddy originally jump scared Aunt Jane, knocking her cold to the ground. This was an incredibly quick sequence. It was a very quick sequence even in the movie. This would have added a millisecond of time, I think, but it would have helped a lot, because I felt like that was a big plot hole, because it seems like Aunt Jane is just fully dead. We know that the kid possessing Golden Freddy tells Abby she's just sleeping. I think he says something like that, but I thought that was just, you know, code for, no, I killed her, but I don't want to scare this child that I'm trying to get back to the pizzeria. So I honestly assumed she was dead, and that was just a massive plot hole. Like, what? But I guess if we said that she was knocked out, like if it just was confirmed she was knocked out, she's still an issue by the end of the movie. I don't know. We're just left to kind of forget about Aunt Jane by the end of the movie. But I would have loved a Golden Freddy jump scare. I think that would have been an awesome reference. But number 13, when Abby is hiding in the arcade from Foxy, right before Foxy finds her spot, she grabs a shard of glass from off the broken arcade and throws it across the room. Foxy ends up looking away, and she runs to the ball pit, watching him before going in. I thought the scene we got was fine while I was watching it, but this person here actually makes a good point. Like, how would she have gotten into the ball pit without Foxy seeing her? I'm probably remembering wrong, but I just thought he was looking away the whole time. But this would have helped, I guess. It would have helped a little bit, I suppose. Understandably cut, would have helped like a minor amount. This one confuses me quite a bit. Instead of running out of the kitchen calling for Abby, Garrett originally led Mike out of the kitchen and into the archway leading to the exit, which William walked out of, similar to the Foxy transition before Abby goes into the arcade. That super confuses me because it's supposed to be Garrett. I don't know why Garrett would be in, like, I guess it makes sense Garrett would show up for when he's trying to save his brother from the same fate. I suppose that could have been a pretty cool emotional scene. And I'm guessing what they mean is that Garrett would have been walking and then Mike would have walked out or something like that. That's how I'm interpreting it anyway, because they're comparing it to the Foxy scene. But yeah, that one's like the most interesting to me, I feel like, just because randomly Garrett shows up. Well, Garrett hasn't been shown as like a ghost like the other kids. I did briefly mention who Garrett could end up being in future movies and just in this current movie even in my review, which again, linked down below. All right, and last but not least, number 15, William seemed like he was in a lot more agony during the spring locking, even screaming in agony after putting on the mask. That would have been fantastic. The Springlock scene is a big kind of controversial thing, I feel like, in the movie, because so many fans wanted it to be the perfect scene. And of course it's PG-13, so you can't show too much gore and like like violence, I guess. But I think they could have got away with a bit of screaming. I think that would have helped so much. I feel like they ended up trying to make him seem more like he wants to stay in control, and that's why he composes himself. But I think the Springlock scene it's crucial that we understand that that's a comeuppance. Like, he gets his comeuppance, he gets what's coming to him in that scene. And it just didn't really feel like that, kind of. And then we got the whole weird dialogue of "I always come back." I talked about that in the review. Just kind of strange use of a great line in the movies. There's a weird spot for it. But yeah, that's kind of all there is for that post. I'll check quickly if Entom has posted anything else. What the fuck? I don't know. I'm gonna ignore I saw that. I'm very overwhelmed with the amount of things that just popped up. Also, before I forget, I will link this post and Entom's whole Twitter profile down in the description below. Big thanks to them, because I'm pretty sure they've helped. They've posted some stuff that we've covered before, so very awesome. This is kind of the last thing. I think it's another. This seems like it's from the actual script, which is kind of cool. So okay, it says he turns to flee, but a swing from Bonnie's guitar sends him to his knees. Then Freddy is upon him, prying open the mouth of his suit as Chica drops her cupcake inside. What sounds like a meat grinder can be heard as the man in the yellow rabbit suit screams and begins to violently convulse. First off, something kind of minor. I've noticed, and a lot of you have noticed, that he's always referred to as the man in the yellow rabbit suit, and he's always referred to like the yellow rabbit. They don't ever call him Spring Bonnie or anything like that, or I guess they would just call him Bonnie because he gets the name Spring Bonnie for being a Springlock suit, but they don't call him Spring Fredbear. I have a whole issue with his name because I called him Golden Bonnie once and I got so much shit for it. And it's like, come on, man, we call him Golden Freddy, Golden, it's the, whatever, it's the same thing. Okay, sorry, that was a massive tangent. I was talking to my girlfriend about this and she was like, that sounds really cool, but I kind of wouldn't want to see the cupcake being dropped inside. And I kind of agree with that. I feel like that's a bit much and the spring locking is kind of enough, but they had to do it right. And this is what they were missing, the screaming and the violently convulse. That's a crucial part of the scene. I show it a lot on the channel. If editing me can just pop that up again. He does violently convulse, and there was a significant lack of violence and convulsion in the Springlock scene, which is kind of a shame. Especially when it was in a version of the script. It was something they planned on doing. It just didn't end up making it into the final film. But I do like them kind of going up to him and stuff. And I did see a video edit actually, which should be popping up on screen now, as well as a link to it in the description below. Someone edited the Springlock scene so that Freddy actually puts the mask on him and he's kind of more spewing more blood and it's just a little more violent and he's screaming. It's kind of a funny edit because they try to make his mouth look like he's screaming, so it looks a bit strange. But yeah, I think that's closer to what I would have wanted to see and what I think a lot of us would have wanted to see. So that is a bit of a shame. Something that I'm not sure if I mentioned before was the idea of remaking movies. I think I did talk about it in the review, like movies like Suicide Squad and Justice League, for example. Those are massive movies that came out and they kind of flopped and they weren't super well received, especially by fans, and they ended up just kind of getting remade, or the original version of the script was just made and posted elsewhere on streaming services. And it's like, I like that idea. I really love the idea. Oh crap, that didn't do so well, but we have, you know, the good stuff, or we can just refilm it and let's just fix it and just put it back out there and be like, the other one's kind of non-canon. I don't think they will do that with this, just because this seems a little bit more like we're lucky to have gotten this movie out. But I do know there are 2 movies on the way, and it seems like there's a lot of cut scenes and things that were filmed already. So I'm kind of hoping that they're going to do something similar, but just with deleted scenes, where they'll be like, yep, these are the deleted scenes, crazy, we couldn't post, like none of this could be there because it was PG-13, but this is what it would have looked like if it was rated R. Up to you if it's canon. I think that we might get something like that. It's possible, but probably not likely. But I would love to see something like that. What do you guys think? Would you guys like to see something like that? I think that would be a perfect way to appease fans and be like, oh, that's you didn't like the Springlock scene? That's awesome. This is what it would have looked like if it was a lot more violent. We just cut it, you know? But just because it's not in the movie doesn't mean it's not canon, etc., etc. Did you guys like the movie? This ended up being a bit of a rant about the movie. Do you guys wish these scenes were in the movie, or are you happy that they were cut? Let me know. Which one's your favorite as well? Let me know down in the comments below. That's going to be just about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.